Alright guys, welcome back to I know it's been a while since we've posted, but we've been doing some studies on the tape. We've been watching the combine, getting this mock draft 2.0 ready for you guys, and that's what we're bringing for you guys today. It's mock draft 2.0 and after the combine. So we're going to start it off. Number one pick, we both have consensus on it, Kyler Murray. There's been a lot of talk recently, a lot of speculation that the Cardinals are going to go number one, take Kyler Murray, trade Josh Rosen. I don't know about this move. I know Cliff loves Kyler Murray. He's really high on him. This could be a smokescreen. I feel like it is a smokescreen because, you know, your Redskins.
Yeah.
They're really a franchise that fiends for the attention.
Yeah.
A franchise that fiends for popularity because they haven't had much. And like I've been saying since before all this speculation even came out, I said that the Redskins were going to go with Kyler Murray. So until we see a trade happen, maybe I have Kyler Murray here for the sure fact that either the Redskins or the Cardinals are going to take him. And I don't think he should be number one overall. I think this is a hype move, but take it as it is.
Yeah, I agree with that. Kyler Murray's not someone who's worth the number one overall pick, in my opinion. That's not to say that he's not a good player, he's not a great player, but if you take a number one overall selection, you want that quarterback to be everything that a typical franchise Hall of Fame quarterback is. You look back at former players taking number one overall, you got Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck, John Elway, those type of quarterbacks who are franchise changers, and Kyler Murray's not really that, but
Jameis Winston.
I'm looking at the expectation of a number one overall pick. So, yeah. And as far as I'm concerned, Cliff Kingsbury's coming in. He's going to want to have an electric offense, shake up the NFL, and he thinks that Kyler Murray's that guy because Kyler Murray destroyed his team for last year.
All right, so on to pick number two. It's the San Francisco 49ers. They could go a multitude of ways. We both have another consensus on this. I feel like the 49ers are really high on Nick Bosa this year, simply because they've seen what Joey's done, and he's supposed to be number one overall. I might not agree with that, but he is a good prospect, and he's a sure thing. He has a high floor, high ceiling. Maybe not the highest ceiling, but it is a great ceiling for him, and I feel like he'd fit into the mold in that defense very well. He's very technically sound. I feel like he could learn a little bit more finesse moves. He sometimes gets ahead of himself too much. He's had a little bit of injury problems, so not a bad pick here. I think this is the best moves for the 49ers as well.
Yeah, schematically it's a perfect fit. Nick Bosa's a guy that's 1,000% 4-3 D end. I don't think he's gonna be able to play 3-4 outside linebacker or 3-4 defensive end. He's not my favorite prospect, but he's a lot of people's favorite prospects, and he's gonna go really high. A lot of people think he's number one overall, and in this situation with the Cardinals not going number one is a clear choice for the 49ers to go ahead and take him.
Yeah. Nick Bosa, he's a good prospect. Nothing to take away from it, but we're both not high on him for multitude of reasons. But let's head into the third pick, the New York Jets. Sorry, we kind of have a good consensus, guys, about the first few picks, and Trent and I are really thinking alike. So we both have the same guy here. I have Quinnen Williams. There's talks that they're going to keep the 3-4 and not change it, which I feel like is good, so that nobody has to change their scheme except for Greg Williams.
Yeah.
Put him beside Leonard Williams. Put Quinnen Williams inside. Move Leonard Williams to DN. I think you have a franchise defensive tackle there for the next 10, 15 years. However long you need to keep him, you got to keep him because he's a ferocious animal. He's physical at the point of attack, and he can rush a passer too.
Yeah, I think Quinnen Williams is one of the rare athletes who can play all alongside the defensive line. I think he can play 4-3 defensive end if someone asked him to, and I think he can play nose tackle too. I think he's one of the elite prospects that you don't really come around that often. I think he's the best player in this draft, and the Jets will get themselves a steal and a very, very solid front seven to build on for the next however many years.
Yeah. The Jets, they need a player like this. Put the Williams guys together.
Yeah. Him and Leonard Williams would be very
Go
scary.
wreak havoc, but there's still talks that Leonard Williams might get traded. I'm not so sure about it, but imagine if
I don't understand why they would.
they had never got rid of Sheldon Richardson or Muhammad Wilkerson. That defensive line would be crazy in a 4-3. On to the fourth pick in the draft. The Oakland Raiders are up. They need a lot of things. They need linebacker, corner, safety, deep line, running back, receiver, even offensive line. They need everything.
Yeah.
So right now, I feel like they're going to go with the best player on their board, the guy that both Mayock and Gruden like. And I don't think they're going to go for the production that was in college football. I think they're going to go for a guy that they thought that they have been in love with, which I think since high school, and that's Rashawn Gary.
Yeah.
I think he's a great Gruden player. You can put him anywhere on the defensive line. They run traditionally a 4-3.
They run a 4-3. Yeah.
I feel like that's what he's best suited in is a 4-3. Put him at DN, put him at D tackle, 3 tech. I think he's going to get after the quarterback and wreak havoc for this team.
Yeah, he can play defensive end or defensive tackle in that 4-3 system. He's going to be a perfect fit for the Raiders. He's my second favorite player in this draft behind Quinnen Williams, just because of that raw athleticism and strength. He just has the physical capability to be a dominant defensive lineman, and I think that would be a great pick for the Raiders. But I have them taking Josh Allen, and he's someone that's just going to be straight pass rush. And that's what John Gruden, every week, he was talking about, hey, we need some pass rush. So they go out and they get themselves a guy who's going to get after the quarterback every single play, and he's going to affect the quarterback every single play, I think. And, you said they have some weakness at linebacker, and I think he's someone who's athletic enough that maybe he could do that a little bit, too, if they really need him to.
Yeah, he's shown that he can cover and pass in the flats. Maybe can't play man very well, but playing in the zone coverage, maybe send zone blitzes, he'll be great suited for that. He's my favorite player in this draft, but I don't have him going here simply because I feel like they want a hard worker, a guy that, despite not having production, is going to do what he needs to do in the NFL, and that's what the kind of guy that Mike Mayock and Gruden really love, I feel like. But on to the fifth pick, Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Yeah, one more thing on Josh Allen. I think he'd be a insane 3-4 outside linebacker, Von Miller-esque.
Yeah, that's what I feel like he's going to. That's his comparison right now. He's very similar to Von Miller coming out of college. But we need to move on to the Buccaneers now. Buccaneers, they just locked up their left tackle Donovan Smith for the future. A lot of guaranteed money in that. So I didn't have a tackle going here anyways, that mainly. I didn't have a tackle going here anyways, but it did change my pick because I was going to go on the lines of defensive line, but they're going to keep Gerald McCoy, and I don't feel like that's a big need. But they're going to have to let Quan Alexander walk because they locked him up. So that forces their hand, and I feel like they go out, fifth pick. They're really high on Devin White. That's who I think they draft. He's easily the best linebacker in this class. He's rangy, and he showed up at the combine with his 4.4?
Yeah.
4.4 speed. He's rangy. There's no athletic problems that maybe were surfaced before the combine. So they get the best linebacker in the draft and go and help the worst defense in the NFL.
Yeah, that would be a really good pick, and like you said, it was the worst defense in the NFL. And because of that, I think that my personal philosophy is if you need help with defense, you need help with pass rush, or you need help in the secondary. Linebacker's kind of that middle ground that you don't really need elite players, but of course it always helps.
Levante David and Devin White.
Yeah, that would be a fun team. But Bruce Arians has shown how much he values the defensive line in the past, taking Robert Nkemdiche over other players that they needed more and ended up being more productive, but he took the chance on the raw potential with Nkemdiche. And I think they're going to do the same thing with Rashawn Gary, seeing his just raw ability to be an elite playmaker, and they're going to be able to put him at the 3-4 defensive end. He's going to make plays for them.
Yeah, that's who I was going to have here, but No, I was gonna have Josh Allen here actually, but I still value Devin White's ability to get everywhere and make all the tackles that they need him to make, because he does a good job getting the trash out of the way, shedding blocks. He might not be the biggest hit stick guy, but he's a sure tackler, and that's what they really need. Too many broken tackles in that linebacker core. Quan was hurt most of that year. So was Levante David. They needed stability there, and I feel like that's what he brings. That's why I have him there.
Yeah.
Now on to the 6th pick. This is an easy pick. Trent and I both have this one the same, because if it falls into the way both our mocks are right now, it wouldn't make any sense. I mean, I did think that they might have a chance of taking Josh Allen here, but I feel like they just can't pass up a quarterback for the future.
Well, the way they're talking, they might have taken Josh Allen because they seem to be pretty content with Eli Manning for another year.
Yeah, but I've also heard that they are in love with Dwayne Haskins. So I don't think that they pass him up, simply for the fact that you have a sure thing with Dwayne Haskins with a year to learn under Eli, because I feel like Eli knows that this is his last year and he doesn't want to make his franchise be in shambles after this.
Yeah.
Have a guy that is like Eli Manning, a little bit more mobile, probably. Doesn't make as many more dumb decisions, probably, and you get a quarterback that has a great arm talent and is a good pocket passer. I think he's better. He's going to be better than James Winston.
Yeah, Dwayne Haskins is a guy who I have a lot of faith in. I think he's by far the best quarterback prospect in this draft, and that's who I have the Giants taking as well. I think he wouldn't fit the Pat Shurmur system perfectly, but Ohio State kind of ran like a spread West Coast, so it wouldn't be a terrible transition for him to go into. And having a running back like Saquon Barkley and weapons like Sterling Shepard, Evan Ingram, and Odell Beckham, that's obviously going to help any rookie quarterback. I expect him to step in and he's going to play fine, he's going to play great, and he's going to be a franchise quarterback for them. I have a lot of faith in him.
All right, so now we're on to Jacksonville. Jacksonville, they need a lot of things. Well, they don't really need a lot of things. It's the speculation is Nick Foles is going to sign there, so they're not going to be looking for a quarterback, I don't think. I feel like they might trade or release one of their defensive linemen because get some cap.
Malik Jackson's in a lot of trade rumors right now.
Yeah, they could be looking at safety. They're not looking at linebacker, but what I feel like they need, what's going to make the most splashy to give Nick Foles what he needs. I feel like the offensive line's already solid enough. I don't think that they need to go get a big time prospect in this draft that's an offensive lineman. So I have them going DK Metcalf. All right, as I was saying, I feel like the Jaguars are going to go DK Metcalf here. He put on a show at the combine. You see the tape. He's great contested catch guy. Goes up and gets the ball when he needs to get the ball. But the only concern of mine is his agility. I don't know if he can flourish as a route runner in this league, and that's really became the trend, is being a good route runner sets you up for being a good wide receiver in this league.
Yeah, they definitely need a elite receiving threat. Well, pass catching threat. So, but they also need help in the run game. Leonard Fournette needs to be able to get things going and get back to that rookie season where he was playing so well. So I have them taking T.J. Hawkinson, a guy who can catch passes a lot like Zach Ertz did for Nick Foles, and then also be a help in the run game.
All right, so now we're on to the Detroit Lions. There's a slide going on right now, and the Lions stop this slide. They get Josh Allen, who I think is the best player in this draft. Maybe not the most athletic freak that was at the combine, but his production was fantastic at Kentucky. He shows great rush moves, can play against the run very well, like he did against Mississippi State. Shed through two guys, making what it seemed to be what an arm tackle would be, but he wrapped him up strong at the point of attack. I feel like this is a can't-miss guy, and the Lions get a pass rusher for the next 15 years.
Yeah, he's going to be a perfect scheme fit in the that 3-4 multiple front that they run, and he's going to be able to do whatever Matt Patricia wants him to do. He's going to be a perfect fit for that Lions team, and that'll be a great fall for them. I have them taking Montez Sweat, who doesn't look as athletic as Josh Allen on tape, but apparently he's a lot more athletic. He had a great showing at the combine, and I think that really helped his stock rise from maybe the back half of the first round and back now into the
Top half.
into the top 10. Matt Patricia's going to see that, and he's going to say this is a guy who's good at stopping the run from the defensive end position. He can also get after the passer, and he's athletic to make plays in open space. He can go out and do what I need him to do in my defense, and they're going to get him.
Yeah, he's a great pick. That's who I was going to have here if I didn't see the news about the Donovan Smith signing.
Mhm.
So that's what changed for me, and I completely agree with everything you said. I feel like he's the second best guy for this scheme.
Yeah.
He compares well to Daniil Hunter, which I feel like the Lions are going to need a pass rusher because they have Daniil Hunter in this division and Khalil Mack. Packers, they're kind of shaky right there.
Mhm.
So the Lions need to get ahead of the Packers right now and go and get their guy. But moving on to the Bills at 9, I have them going offensive tackle to protect Josh Allen, the quarterback,
Yeah.
for the next decade, and that's Jonah Williams. I feel like he's the best tackle in this draft.
Jonah Williams over Dillard.
Yeah, Jonah Williams is going to be a better scheme fit for this Bills team. They're not really the zone run team.
Mhm.
They have a lot more power. I feel like a lot more versatility, and that's why they're going to be Jonah Williams is going to be a person that excels in this offensive line.
Yeah.
So can't go wrong with an offensive tackle protector future.
Yeah, he'd be a really good fit schematically for the Bills, but I don't think he's the best tackle in the draft, so you don't take the best tackle that high, or the person who's not the best tackle that high, in my opinion. But I have them taking DK Metcalf, very big receiver. I won't say athletic, but very fast receiver. Needs to work on the route running, obviously. Needs
He's
to work.
explosive.
Yeah. He needs to work on that aspect of his game, but he's got solid hands. He can make big plays down the field, and just get him the ball, and he's going to make things happen for your team. And the Bills really lacked that last year.
Yeah, I agree. They needed a weapon. Their best weapon was Robert Foster last year.
Yeah.
So I can see them going wide receiver, but I feel like there's a lot more depth, and they can accumulate better value in the second round, where they're lacking at wide receiver. Right, so now we're at pick number 10. The Denver Broncos are up. They have a lot of needs. They need quarterback. I don't think they're going to reach a quarterback this early. They could go offensive line, maybe. Linebacker, they're going to lose Brandon Marshall, a guy in the middle. But Devin White just went for you? No. Devin White went. No, Devin White hasn't gone. Devin White has. So he could go here for you. Yeah. He's already off my board. So they go and get the best prospect to fit this defense that's on the board still. And I was thinking about Ed Oliver here, putting him with Bradley Chubb and Von Miller. That would be scary.
Yeah.
It would resemble a lot of the Bears defense, but I don't think they do that. I feel like they go and get a corner because they were very, very thin at corner this year.
Yeah.
He brings a next element to this team. He excelled in the drills at the combine. He ran a good 40, or maybe a little bit faster than I expected, and he showed off his athleticism. And that there's no question of that. I feel like he's the best corner in this draft, and they go and get a stud at corner.
Yeah, I think they need quarterback and cornerback the most, but John Elway just went and got Joe Flacco, and he's kind of shown that whenever he gets a player, he has faith in them, and he's not going to want to bring someone else in. He wants to stick with Flacco and have him be their quarterback for the next few years. I think that's what he sees as the vision. And at cornerback, I thought about Greedy Williams here, but Devin White's still on the board. You can't pass up a player like that, and especially with Vic Fangio, they just drafted the Bears, drafted a
Roquan.
Yeah, they drafted linebacker last year. He made an immediate impact for them. I think Vic Fangio sees the same thing, goes out and gets Devin White for them.
Yeah, it wouldn't surprise me if he was still on the board there. I feel like it's going to be between him and their top corner. If those two are still on the board, it's going to be between one of those two. I could also see if one of the big names fall, they might look at him on defense too, like Josh Allen, I don't know, like Montez Sweat, maybe they'll give him a look. But in my opinion, I think corner is a bigger need than linebacker simply because they're so thin. But moving on from that, we're on to pick 11, where the Cincinnati Bengals are up. And I have them, they could go offensive line here. I don't have them going offensive line. I have them going defensive tackle.
Mhm.
I feel like they're going to go and take Ed Oliver here. They're going to, Geno Atkins, he's getting up there in age. I know they need linebacker. They're very thin there. They got picks later. This linebacking core, after Devin White, there's not much.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some solid depth pieces there, no immediate impact guys. So I feel like their hand is forced here, and they go and get Geno Atkins' eventual replacement. Ed Oliver, he showed out his strength for being undersized. He can move players. He can do it all on the inside of the line. Him and Geno Atkins together creates a great pass rush on the interior and good run support.
Yeah,
That's where they're going to build their team from.
Yeah, that would be a really, really good fit, or a really good pick. Not necessarily a good fit,
Yeah.
but it will be a really good pick for them. Whenever you have a player like that still on the board, you got to go out and get them. But I have them taking Andre Dillard, the best offensive tackle in the draft. And they've had trouble since Andrew Whitworth left, and even a little bit before that with pass protection. I think that's really shown in Andy Dalton's play. They go out and finally get someone who can pass protect and really make an impact in the new zone running system and in the pass game for them.
Yeah, because Dalton did get hurt last year. I don't know if that's a direct relation to maybe the offensive line's fault. Maybe it was just a bad injury, but
Yeah.
you can attribute maybe some factors into that offensive line, and they want to keep Andy Dalton upright for as long as they can, because I feel like Zach Taylor knows he doesn't have as much time with Andy Dalton as he thinks.
Yeah.
But now we're on to pick 12. Packers, they need edge rushers, they need safety, maybe more. They just need a lot of defense and line help. I think it's too early for them to go offensive line because it's not a critical need for them. Defense is more critical in my opinion. Linebackers and inside linebackers, they got Blake Martinez and Jake Ryan, so I don't think they're looking for that. They still have kid from UCLA. What's his name?
Kenny Clark.
Yeah, they still have Kenny
Yeah.
Clark there at nose tackle for them. So edge rusher is there's more good edge rushers to me on the board still than, let's say, safety.
Yeah.
So with that being said, I think they go Brian Burns because he fits perfectly into this system. I think he's a better fit than Montez Sweat because he gets after the passer more. They have inside guys that will stop the run.
Mhm.
So Brian Burns is my pick here.
Yeah, they absolutely need pass rush, and a lot of times when people think of pass rush, they think of the defensive ends or outside linebackers who are coming off the edge, but Aaron Donald proved this year, especially, that your pass rush doesn't have to come from the outside. So I have them going out and taking Ed Oliver, who can affect the pass game from the inside and be the pass rusher that the Packers need, and he's just significantly more talented than the edge rushers available on the board right now for me.
Yeah, I can see Ed Oliver going here, but I just feel like they don't. He's not going to get past Cincinnati unless Devin White's on the board. That's the
Yeah.
only way I see Ed Oliver getting past to the Packers. So that's why I had Ed Oliver going to Cincinnati as well. And with Ed Oliver, if he does fall to the Packers, I think it's a surefire pick. Then you know he's going to go there. Put him at 3-4 defensive end.
Yeah.
He'll go to work there.
Yeah.
Do his thing.
I think the Packers is the absolute lowest. He falls just the way it fell, and the Bengals have a tendency to go need over potential
Yeah.
in the past, and I have them continuing that trend.
So now we're on to the Miami Dolphins. There's been talks about Ryan Tannehill getting traded, maybe even getting released. I don't think it happens. I think it's going to happen next offseason when all the quarterbacks come out. All the really good quarterbacks come out.
Yeah.
They need edge help. They're going to lose Branch. I think they're going to lose Wake. Yeah, Wake. And the other guy.
Robert Quinn,
Him.
William Hayes.
And William Hayes. I think they're going to lose all those guys. Maybe keep Robert Quinn, so they don't.
Well, he's the most expensive. If they keep anyone, it would probably be Cameron Wake.
Well, anyways, they need edge help badly, and I don't know if this guy really fits their scheme, but I have Montez Sweat going here. He's a freak athlete, as we saw at the combine. I feel like he can make the transition into defensive end, not a 3-4 outside linebacker like he played at Mississippi State all the time. Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
He did that.
Yeah, 3-4 outside linebacker.
You saw at the combine he had great hands on defense, but he got a little sloppy. I felt like.
Yeah.
And
he has heavy hands.
And Brian Flores, new coach, I feel like he can go in there, coach up his technique more with his feet,
and the Dolphins might be switching to that multiple 3-4 as well.
Yeah, I could definitely see them doing that, and it would be a great scheme fit for him, and a transition that they need their best defensive player to build around.
Yeah.
Him and Fitzpatrick.
Yeah, they spent a first-round pick a couple of years ago on Charles Harris out of Missouri. He hasn't really panned out, but he hasn't really gotten very much opportunities. He'll get his opportunity this year, but nonetheless, you need someone to be on the other side of him. So Montez Sweat, if he were on the board, that would be a great pick. But for me, Greedy Williams is still on the board. They just took Minka Fitzpatrick last year, and him and Greedy Williams in the secondary would be a very solid core to build around for the next however many years, because Fitzpatrick is a guy who can play safety and cornerback, and Greedy Williams, he can lock down one side of the field and just go out and make plays for your team.
Yeah, Greedy Williams, he has all the athletic attributes that you need in a corner, and although his technique isn't very good, he can learn that easily in the NFL as long as he has a good coach.
Yeah.
As long as Brian Flores has his guy that he knows that he can go and help coach him up, I feel like he'll do fine, but it'll take some time.
Yeah, he has Brian Flores as a head coach. He's a defensive guy. Minka Fitzpatrick, he's young, but he's a really good leader. Rashad Jones, he has experience at cornerback and safety. He's had a lot of years in the league. And I think they just have the right mixture to develop Greedy Williams into an elite player.
And I feel like they're going to give Brian Flores this extended period of time, a 5-year time frame, so I feel like he knows he has enough time to develop Greedy Williams, and this is a safe, well, not a safe pick, but a roll the dice move.
Yeah.
That I feel like Brian Flores
It's a boomer
should
bust
do.
pick.
Yeah. All right, now we're on to the 14th pick in the draft. We have the Atlanta Falcons. They're on the clock right now. They have a little bit of needs, not very many needs. They're going to be very deep along their roster this year.
Yeah.
I feel like they have a lot of guys returning from injury, but what I feel like they're going to do, I think they're going to go on offensive line and protect Matt Ryan, because last year I feel like he didn't have as much time. He needed more help, and they have a few guards on their team that contract's coming up. So I feel like they're going to go guard here. Take the best guard, in my opinion, in this draft, Cody Ford. He can lock it down for you. Pass protection, he has great hands, great feet, athletic, played right tackle in college. He should be a franchise guard, left or right. I don't see him playing tackle. Putting him at tackle, I feel like just limits him even more than what he can be.
Yeah.
And the Falcons are going to get a guy for the next decade here.
Yeah, he's very well suited to play guard. I don't think he's necessarily a tackle because he doesn't quite have the length, and he has more ability to pull than he does to kick step and do the things that a tackle needs to do. He just has more of a guard skill set. And he's a perfect modern guard, and that'll be a great pick for them. They don't necessarily need offensive line help, but when you get an elite offensive lineman, that always does help. But I have them taking Christian Wilkins. They're going to lose Grady Jarrett, and he can step right in and not match the production of Grady Jarrett, but he can help.
Pretty sure Grady Jarrett got franchised.
All right, well, they get another defensive lineman to play alongside Grady Jarrett and help that front seven that struggled throughout last year.
Yeah, it would help, but with Grady getting franchised,
I thought they decided not to franchise him.
I don't know. I could be wrong, but I thought I saw him that he got franchised. But besides the point, if he isn't franchised, it would be a great pick and a great fit because they need interior D-line also because they got ran on a little too much. And Grady Jarrett, he was like the only guy in that interior. They're so small that you can't really do anything about it. because of Vic Beasley, and they're going to
Cat
keep.
McKinley.
Yeah, they're going to keep Vic Beasley, even though I don't think he's a guy that you can rely on anymore.
Right.
But
He had that one good year.
with that being said, it's time for your Washington Redskins to take the pick.
Mm-hmm.
And you want to go first for this one?
Sure. So, with the rumors of getting Josh Rosen, I was gonna have a trade here, but
We don't do trades.
yeah, we don't do trades. So
Until draft week.
right, we're not gonna do trades. So I just decided, with nothing guaranteed, maybe Kyler Murray and Josh Rosen will be on the same roster. Who knows? So I have the Redskins taking Drew Lock. There's an obvious need at quarterback, and Drew Lock, while he's not the most talented guy, he doesn't necessarily have the ideal size. I think he has the mental capabilities to be a franchise quarterback, and it's a solid pick, but it's mostly a need pick for the Redskins here.
Yeah, that would definitely be a need pick. I don't think they're going to roll into 2019, 2020 with Colt McCoy as their starting quarterback.
Yeah, that's what Bruce Allen's saying right now, but I
Yeah.
don't believe it.
Yeah, that's 95 on the BS meter to
Yeah,
me.
yeah.
And I see them, if they do trade, I don't see the Redskins giving up their first round pick. So, with that being said, I have them go on to their next biggest need,
Mm-hmm.
and to me that is safety. It might be a bit of a reach because the safeties, they're not that great, and they're still great edge rushers still on the board, but
Mhm.
I have them going Nasir Adderley out of Delaware here, a rangy safety. He doesn't play in the box like maybe
Monte Nicholson, DJ Spring.
yeah, like DJ could have done, and
Yeah.
how he was playing. But with that being said, he's a center fielder, can play as far back as you need him to. Nothing's going to get behind him. He's a decent tackler, I'd say. The only question mark to me is, can he adjust to the next level talent?
Yeah.
Because Delaware, they're FCS. They're not really a powerhouse football team.
Mhm.
I mean, they produced Joe Flacco, but that's about it.
They're a powerhouse on the FCS level,
Maybe that, but
it's the FCS.
But
so.
the Redskins' biggest need to me is safety after quarterback,
Mhm.
and they fill the need here, and they see throughout the draft that there's a lot more depth, so they can afford to reach right here, because more guys will fall to them that could be first round picks in maybe last year's draft on the defensive side of the ball or offensive side of the ball. So that's who I got the Redskins taking.
Yeah, Nasir Adderley would be a really good pick. I don't think safety's the second biggest need, but it definitely is a huge need
Mhm.
for the Redskins, and it would just be a good pick, and I think he'd be what HaHa was supposed to be.
Yeah. Well, now we're on to Carolina. It's pick 16 in this draft. They might lose out on Darrell Williams. Their offensive line's really shaky.
Mhm.
Cam Newton, there's question marks if he's going to be back next year because health issues. They lost Thomas. They're going to lose Thomas Davis. Julius Peppers retired. This organization's falling apart as we speak. But with that, I know that they need the offensive line production, but I feel like there's a slider that has to be taken right here. The fall has to stop. I don't see him going any further than this. It's Clelin Ferrell
Mhm.
out of Clemson. He's been sliding down, and sliding down, and I think he's a great fit here because they play a traditional 4-3. I'm pretty sure,
Yeah.
and you're gonna have to replace that production out of defensive, out of pass rush because Quan Short, he's not really been living up to anything. You lost Julius Peppers. I don't even know who.
Mario Addison's probably going to be a cap casualty.
He's not really any good.
Yeah.
You have Luke Kuechly in back there. I know that they need guard. I know they need tackle still, but this is a pick that you have to address because it is a need, and he's going to bring in a lot of production. He produced at Clemson. He produced a national championship game. You know he's a winner, and that's what I feel like the Panthers need is a winning format because after last season, after they completely just fell apart after the Steelers game, everything folded for them. So, sorry Panthers about my pick. And I feel like I kind of ruined it on our first video.
What was the first video? Oh, yeah.
Steelers, Panthers.
Yeah.
I predict you guys to win.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys, but maybe you guys make up for it with this pick.
Yeah, I have them taking Juwan Taylor, and like you said, they have a lot of needs, especially on the pass rushing side, and you know they could go pretty much anywhere. They could go wide receiver.
They're gonna lose Devin Funches.
Cam's gonna be out. Who knows how he'll return? He was already kind of playing shaky. They might even go quarterback.
Taylor Heineke, he's the truth, baby.
They need pretty much everything on the defensive side of the ball: linebacker, secondary, pass rush, whatever. But Juwan Taylor, I think, is the best player on the board right now, and it fills a need. I think he can play left or right tackle. I think he can play the guard position. He's a very versatile lineman, in my opinion. I'm a big fan of him, and he really helps with that power running scheme that the Panthers like to use, and he's going to be a perfect fit. Step in, be a starting tackle for you for a long time.
Yeah, I definitely see them getting him because I see him more as a right tackle in the league, not a left tackle. So I feel like he'd fill a good void there for Darrell Williams because Darrell Williams was a right tackle and he's like the only good one anyways. So I see that happening. That would be a great pick for them. And Cam could be well protected for maybe a millisecond more now.
Yeah.
But anyways, on to the Cleveland Browns. They are a franchise that's on the up and up.
Yeah.
They've really turned things around for the better, not for the worse. Freddie Kitchens is in charge. He's an offensive guy, like we've talked about many times before. We see how their defense was solid this past season, but the run defense especially was not up to par as what the pass defense was. So they need interiors, linemen on the defense side of the ball. Offensively, they locked up Greg Robinson because I guess they think he's the dude.
Yeah.
I think he's the dude at left tackle to replace Hall of Famer Joe Thomas. But
Yeah.
I'm not so sure about that. Aside from that, though, I think they're going to go Christian Wilkins here. He's a guy that looks good in orange. He looks good in orange and white. He produced a lot at Clemson. He did everything for them. He was a great team player. I think he brings a great type of leadership into this young organization, the type of leadership that you look for in a young up-and-coming roster. You have Baker Mayfield on the offensive side of the ball. On the defensive side of the ball, you have Ward, Peppers, Garrett. This defense is turning out to be something really good.
Yeah.
Put him next to Larry Ogunjobi on D-tackle. Woo! This defense is going to be pretty good, man.
Yeah, that they have a lot of good young pieces on the defensive side of the ball. I think they're going to have an elite defense for a long time. And you said about Greg Robinson, they locked him up, but it was only a 2-year deal, I believe, and he gets all of his guaranteed money in the first year. So he's a cap casualty heading into next offseason if he doesn't perform. I have them taking Jonah Williams still, even though they signed Greg Robinson. He can play left or right. He's another one of those guys. He can play pretty much all across the offensive line and have success. And they need offensive line help, whether they have faith in Greg Robinson or not, if they want to have him compete for the job. Jonah Williams is the guy that can be a franchise tackle for them.
Yeah, I feel like Jonah Williams is the best left tackle in this draft. I know there's been talks about him playing guard. I think he would be good at guard, but he's really against playing guard. He's made it very known that if he's playing guard, he's going to be really unhappy and he's going to cause problems. I feel like so. I don't think a team is going to reach at him just for him to play guard. I feel like only teams that need left tackle is going to take Jonah Williams, and this is a team that needs left tackle. So I completely understand this pick, and I would be all for it if Jonah Williams was still on the board in my mind. All right, now we're on to pick number 18. Lucky number 18, not really, because the season was pretty bad.
Yeah.
2018 for this team.
Yeah.
Didn't meet the expectations this year, but there's a lot of
Super
ways.
Bowl or bust, man. Remember beginning of the season?
It
Super
was,
Bowl or
it
bust?
was Super Bowl or bust. It was a bust.
Yeah.
But with that being said, there's a lot of ways for this team. We're talking about the Vikings to make a lot of cap room. A lot of ways to free up this situation that they have. and they can still address the needs that they need to address at this position with the way my board's falling out. They need interior offensive line, but they also need 3-tech and they need linebacker. Those are the biggest needs for the Minnesota Vikings. Is
3-tech, you mean defensive tackle?
yeah, same thing. No, we need a run stuffing interior offense
Yeah.
defensive lineman.
Yeah.
That's why I said 3-tech.
Yeah, I hate when people say 3-tech.
All right, whatever. But anyways, I know that they need guard, and I feel like one of the second best tackle, in my opinion, well, the best pass blocking tackle is still on the board here, and I have the Vikings going Andre Dillard here. I'm a big fan of Andre Dillard. I thought he did amazing at the combine. I feel like he's going to be just like Brian O'Neill, but he's a left tackle.
Yeah.
I feel like those two are very comparable. They put up similar numbers at the combine. I feel like they're kind of the same player, except that Andre Dillard's a better pass blocker than Brian O'Neill. I feel like his run game is underrated because he did have James Williams there, and they did run the ball effectively, even though they ran that up-tempo spread offense.
Yeah.
It's what Kirk Cousins needs. He was under pressure way too much. I know we still have Riley Reef there at left tackle, but with every first-round pick the Vikings ever take, usually they don't start right away. So I feel like he's going to be behind Riley Reef to start the season.
Really?
To start the season, but
For
after
like maybe the first half of the first game. Maybe.
and then once the team starts, well, once Dillard shows his true form, the switch will be made. I don't know how long it'll take, but it shouldn't take very long. I know that it's just how Mike Zimmer is. He did it with Trey Waynes. He did it with Mike Hughes.
Dalvin Cook.
Yeah, and Brian O'Neill as well. O'Neill didn't start last year. They had Rashad Hill starting.
Yeah.
The biggest bum in the world. Yeah. Another T.J. Clemens. Yeah, but I love Andre Dillard, and I would love this pick for the Vikings.
Yeah, that would be a perfect fit for the Vikings. Absolutely need a starting left tackle immediately, and I think he's the best tackle in the draft. Him and Brian O'Neill would give you great bookends for the future, and that would be something to build off of at a pretty weak position right now.
Hey, Trevor Lawrence, 2021
But
or 2022. I forget what it was.
21
Yeah,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence, 21.
at the earliest.
2021 draft. That's who we're
Yeah.
taking.
But, anyways, so in my draft, there's no elite tackles available right now, but Cody Ford's available, and he's a great offensive guard, and no matter what position it is, the Vikings need offensive line help. Cody Ford can step right in and start right along Pat Elflein, and that would be, if you have 3 elite linemen, you should have a pretty good offensive line. You just need a couple fill-ins at left
Solid-
tackle and right
solid
guard.
guys, yeah.
Yeah, but Cody Ford would help transform this offensive line into a decent offensive line.
Yeah, I would love Cody Ford as well. Cody Ford, to me, is the best guard, and he's a plug-and-play right where Mike Remmers played last year, right guard, and that would seal the right side of the line for the immediate future. Left side, you still have Riley Reef then. He's okay. He's nothing great. He's nothing horrible. I'm not going to say...
He should probably be cut.
Yeah, he should be cut, but I don't think the dead money's... They don't want to take on as much dead money as he will offer. But on to the Titans, who had a weird season.
Yeah.
They beat teams that they weren't supposed to beat, lost teams that they weren't supposed to lose to. Mike Vrabel is a very weird season, that's for sure. But with that being said, I know they're going to lose Quentin Spain. They need wide receiver help as well. Also, maybe even defensive end, tight end. They could go with safety. They just cut Jonathan Cyprien. But with that being said, I see them going interior offensive line. Not quite sure what he plays, but I have them going Garrett Bradbury, who I think is the second best interior offensive lineman in this draft.
He's a center.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who's the Titans center right now?
Josh Klein, I think.
Move him to guard. He played guard with the Patriots.
Yeah.
Or was it Ben? No.
And I think it's Josh Klein.
well, whoever it is, you put Garrett Bradbury in there at center. You have a guy that will protect Marcus Mariota even better, help him out on the line calls. He made all the line
Yeah.
calls at NC State. He put up a lot of reps on the bench. He's very athletic.
Mm-hmm.
I get a good Jason Kelsey feel with him, and he's a plug and play center for the next decade and leader on that offensive line. I know I've been using that next decade, but that's what you got to use with these offensive line because that's how long you need them to protect. You
Well,
for.
that's what you want out of any first round pick is someone that can be a good player for you for a long time. And
Yeah.
So that's what is going to be projected for these guys that are taken this high. But yeah, I'm very high on Garrett Bradbury. I love Garrett Bradbury. He is a guy that can pull from the center position. He's someone that's going to relieve a lot of pressure from Marcus Mariota if that were to be a pick. And not only will pass protect, but he'll also be able to make the calls that Marcus Mariota isn't very good at picking up still.
Because he's injury prone. We've seen that he can't play a full season, so
Yeah.
I feel like that's the biggest need for them right now.
And he's not the smartest either, Marcus Mariota.
Yeah,
So it would be a great pick for them, and
helps out the run game with Derrick Henry too.
yeah,
It's a lot more physical.
yeah. Garrett Bradbury threw up a lot of reps on the bench press. I was very surprised by that. Strength was like the only question for him, and he put that to sleep. But their biggest needs would probably be wide receiver, interior offensive line. But I have them taking Brian Burns. He's an athletic freak out of Florida State. He can develop into pretty much whatever you want him to because he's extremely raw, and they need pass rush help with Brian Arakpo retiring. And
They still got Landry and Casey.
yeah, they got Harold Landry. They have Jarrell Casey in the interior, but Brian Burns coming off the edge, that'll be a game changer for them. And Mike Vrabel, he's a defensive guy, and he understands the need for that.
Yeah, I could definitely see this happening, even though I'm not so sure about how they're going to make Harold Landry, Jarrell Casey, and him fit. Maybe
They don't play the same position.
Casey plays the end and the 3-4.
3-4 defensive end. Harold Landry and Brian Burns, 3-4 outside linebackers.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. So
I guess that's how it
just
fits.
let them all go.
Just let them all go. Just let them all rush the passer.
Yeah.
Wesley Woodyard in the middle of the
Yeah.
defense is slow. Oh, well, what? On to the next pick.
Yeah.
The Pittsburgh Steelers, they're up right now. They have a lot of drama going on right now. I don't think they need to make a flashy pick right here. They need
No.
to make a safe pick, a very safe pick, a guy that can help out the secondary, a guy that has great potential, but
Mhm.
isn't the talker that the locker room is right now. And I feel like they go a Warrior right here, Amani
Warrior.
Yeah, I feel like they go with him. Penn State product.
Mm-hmm.
They love taking their Pennsylvania guys, and I feel they reached on Terrell Edmonds last year.
Yeah.
I feel like they'll reach on a Warrior here simply because they need the safe picks. They don't want to reach on a Greedy right now or a DeAndre Baker because of his athleticism questions.
Yeah.
And a Warrior showed up pretty well at the combine. I felt like he tested decent, and that's a guy I feel like they're in love with right now.
Yeah, I've been really high on him. He's a guy who has the size and the instincts to play in that zone blitzing defense that they have. But there's another guy, same position, still available on my board.
The best corner in the draft.
Yeah, in your opinion.
Yeah.
That's Byron Murphy. He was a
Yeah.
little slow. He's a little undersized,
Little
but
slow.
yeah,
Ran 4.4s.
he ran 4.55.
Alright, that's so fine.
Yeah, it's a little slow,
Perfect.
but he ran a little slow. He's a little undersized, but he's a really good fit with the Steelers. He's technically the best cornerback in the draft. He doesn't have the physical ability that a Greedy Williams has, but technique-wise, he's great. And him and Joe Hayden being able to play on the outside, and Artie Burns, he had a good sophomore year, but after that and before that, he wasn't very good at all. So replace him, get a very good cornerback to step in and be a immediate impact for the Steelers' young defense.
Yeah, it's a slam dunk pick for the Steelers if they were to get Byron Murphy this late in the draft,
Mhm.
considering that the word is that many teams are high on him, and that I'm also high on. So if I was in the Steelers front office, I'd be going ecstatic with this pick, knowing that I just got the best corner in the draft, at number 20,
Mm-hmm.
considering that that's probably the biggest need on the Steelers right now is that corner. But aside from that, we're on to Seattle. They're at pick 21. They're going to lose Earl Thomas. They just franchised Frank Clark. They could use wide receiver. They could go tight end. T.J. Hawkinson is still on my board right here. But I have them going to replace the Earl Thomas like they replace their guys that they do every year, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. They like picking guys that they can replace, like Rashad Penny last year with Marshawn Lynch. But that's a little later than should have been.
Yeah.
But aside from that, I feel like they go safety here. And they go Taylor Rapp, a guy that can play in the box, a guy that I feel like can replicate what Earl Thomas did. Maybe he's not as good of a prospect as Earl Thomas was coming out of college, but Washington, Seattle, Washington. You make the connections there. The dots are lined up. They see him play every Saturday before they're at any home game. So I feel like it's a pick that you can't go wrong with to replace Earl Thomas.
Well, I think he's a little bit more of a strong safety, but he's a very good focal leader, so you'd be able to replace Earl Thomas in that way, just kind of making the call out, being the leader in the secondary.
In the box safety.
Yeah. And but yeah, that would be a really good pick for them. I'm pretty high on Taylor Rapp. I don't think he should be picked in the first round, but
Needs.
yeah, you got to go with your needs, I guess. But you said about the need wide receiver, tight end. So I got someone who can kind of do both. They went for this a few years ago with Jimmy Graham. I have them taking Noah Fant. Extremely athletic, great receiver. He can zone off block, so it's not like it's going to hurt the run first scheme. And a big issue last year, especially when Doug Baldwin was out, is Russell wasn't going to have that go-to guy, the quick hitter.
Check downs.
Yeah, and Noah Fant can be that guy. He can also be a guy to spread vertically. I think he's going to be a great receiving threat for them and just kind of catapult this offense.
Yeah, Noah Fant, he's a great prospect. I don't think he's the best tight end in the draft. I think he's the third best tight end in the draft, simply for the fact that his run blocking skills aren't up to par as the other two. Because the other two can catch very well, but he is a freak. He's a better prospect to me than Evan Ingram was coming out of college, simply because he can block and he is just as fast as him.
Yeah.
And he has just as good as hands. Great route runner. I feel like you put him in on a corner route, he's going to go up and make a solid play on the ball over a linebacker, outside linebacker that's going to be trying to cover him.
Yeah, I agree with you. I think he's the third best tight end, but I think he fits what the Seahawks want to do with their tight ends more than the other guy.
Well, they still do have Nick Van Ness, so you can't discredit that.
Well, he's an inline.
Well,
blocker.
no, not him. What the dude that Will Dissly.
He's also an inline blocker.
He was great for the Seattle Seahawks before he got hurt.
Mm-hmm.
He was putting up amazing numbers. So tight end, yeah, it can make sense, but I could also see them running two tight end sets simply because they love to run the ball and feed off play action right there because they don't have the receivers that they need. They only need two.
Yeah.
So I can see that. All right, we're on to pick number 22. It's the
Baltimore
Ravens.
Yeah.
They don't have that many needs. They're gonna let C.J. Mosley walk. They could probably replace Eric Weddle if need be, but I think they go wide receiver here. I think they go and get who could be this. He's a top wide receiver prospect. I don't think he's the second best, but I think he's a good prospect. He's showed up at the combine. He can run a fast 40, so he's got the speed. That was the only real question mark with him, and I feel like this is a safe pick for them for Lamar Jackson, fill in for Michael Crabtree, a younger, healthier Michael Crabtree, really.
Yeah, I think he fills that Michael Crabtree role perfectly. I do think letting go of C.J. Mosley was a mistake. Best player on your team, pretty much. But there's not really someone to immediately replace him here. And N'Keal Harry, he's going to be able to step in and be a reliable target for Lamar Jackson, which he needs. And he's a big body, so it's kind of hard to miss, even though Lamar Jackson has some accuracy issues.
Yeah, that's for sure. But let's move on to the Texans. There's not much to talk about the Ravens. Texans though, they have secondary problems and they have line issues. The line, horrible. Most sacked quarterback last year I think was Deshaun Watson. You have to get a guy to help them out there. And I feel like the Texans right here, they go with the best tackle that's left on the board right now. That's Jawan Taylor. Go lock up the right side of that line. Give Deshaun Watson some more stability there so he doesn't get hurt as often, because he still was trying to nurse that ACL tear from last year. So this is a slam dunk pick for the Texans, in my opinion.
Yeah, the Texans absolutely need help on the offensive line, but the only player I have left on the board that I think is a first-round talent would be Garrett Bradbury, but they're pretty solid at the center position right now. They have Nick Martin, and he's pretty much their one good offensive line on the team, so they don't need to go out and get Bradbury when they can get some other guys who fit better later on in the draft. So I have them taking Rock Ya-Sin out of Temple. It's going to be a perfect fit. They're cutting Kevin Johnson, losing Kareem Jackson. They don't really have much in the secondary. They got Jonathan Joseph. He's like 36 now, I think. So they need some immediate help. And Rock Ya-Sin, he's got the size and speed and ability to step in and be number one corner. Well, maybe not a number one corner immediately, but he can step in, be a solid number two, and develop into that number one option.
Yeah, he's a solid pick. I think he's a great prospect out of Temple. He tested pretty well. It's a guy that scouts are really in love with. They were on him a little bit before the combine, but the combine really let him show out.
Yeah.
And I feel like scouts are going to be looking at his tape a lot more now. But let's move on to the second pick for the Raiders, and it's at number 24. I have them going linebacker here. They have many needs, but I feel like Devin Bush is the best guy that will be on their board. They get another Michigan player. Maybe they got some ties to John Harbaugh right now. For me, because they got Gary and Devin Bush.
Yeah.
Get the chemistry. You basically have the Michigan Wolverines as Oakland Raiders.
Well, you know who used to do the combine with Mike Mayock, right?
Uh-oh.
Rich Eisen, Michigan guy.
I mean, it is a need, and Devin Bush tested well. He's easily the second best linebacker out of college right now, so it's a pick that they can't miss right now.
Yeah, I have the same guy, Devin Bush. He fits the Raiders mentality perfectly. He plays with edge, he plays with a chip on his shoulder, and just the classic Raiders player. He fits that perfectly, and he's also a really great player. He's got the speed to be able to go sideline to sideline. He can cover running backs, maybe not tight ends because he's a little undersized as far as height goes, but running backs out of the backfield, he can do that, and he can get downfield pretty quickly and make plays in the run game. I think he's going to be a great fit for the Raiders and great pick.
Yeah. Let's move on to pick number 25. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. We saw last year, kind of got torched in the secondary.
Yeah.
They made up for it a little bit in the divisional round against the Saints, but
second half of the season they were playing a lot better.
Yeah, but
and Sidney Jones is another year off the Achilles.
And Darby, I think he isn't going to stay.
Yeah, he's out.
So there's a need there at corner, and that's where I have them going. I have them going with what could be the best cornerback in this draft class. It is a splash pick right now. It's something that the Eagles love to do. They love to get their fans wild up about these guys coming in. I feel like they're going to fall in love with Greedy Williams right here. Since he's still on the board, it's what could be the best corner in the draft. He has great ball skills and he has great athleticism, but they just need to work with his technique. And once they work with that technique, and if he can stay healthy, he's going to be an amazing corner for them for years to come, and a guy that I feel like your Redskins aren't going to want to match up against.
Yeah, him playing with Jim Schwartz, it's, I think yeah,
he's still there.
Yeah, Jim Schwartz, being able to develop him, and he's kind of a perfect fit for that defense, but of course not on my board. So, and I think they have faith in Avonte Maddox and Sidney Jones and Jalen Mills. Avonte Maddox played great down the stretch. Jalen Mills played really good. Sidney Jones got better all throughout the year, and I think they have faith in them. So I have them taking Dexter Lawrence out of Clemson. He's a big guy. He's going to be able to step in and fill the role that Timmy Jernigan played. They letting go of him. Yeah. And he's going to step in, be a great run stopper for them. He's a big guy right in the middle, and just going to be a plug-and-play type of player along that front seven.
Yeah, he's a great interior guy, and the last probably good guy on the board for you then. So, yeah. Not a pick that I don't see happening. It's not a pick that I don't see. So, now we're on to pick number 26, the Indianapolis Colts. They're up. they don't have as many pressing needs as what they probably should have, considering how well they played at the end of the stretch of the season. But what I feel like they were really missing was a number 2 opposite of T.Y. Hilton. So I have them going A.J. Brown. I don't think he's this. He could be the second best. I think he has the highest floor out of the receivers right now, considering that he's a possession guy. I think you might not see it, but I kind of see Amari Cooper in him when I look at his tape and I see him how he plays.
I don't see that.
Not with the speed, just everything but the speed.
Route running.
Yeah, I feel like
Inconsistent hands.
yeah. So that's what I see out of A.J. Brown. I feel like that's his ceiling, and it would be a solid pick for the Colts and a pick that Andrew Luck needs because the offensive line's done. Now you got to get him more weapons.
Yeah, I wouldn't really be a big fan of that pick, but I'm not high on A.J. Brown. But I have them taking a guy who's fallen pretty far. A lot of people don't really expect that, but I think I'm not big on this guy. So I have Clelin Ferrell going down to the Colts. Defense played very good down the stretch for them, but nonetheless, you can't rely on guys who aren't necessarily consistent producers to continue to play like that. And Clelin Ferrell off the edge would be a great pickup for this Colts defense, who was built around edge rushing in the past.
Yeah, they could definitely use him, but I feel like they're going to get an edge rusher in free agency. I don't think that they're going to go and spend big money on a wide receiver. I think they're going to fill out their holes on defense through free agency, and that's why I have them taking A.J. Brown there. Pick number 27, the Raiders are back up, and I have them going corner right now. They need secondary help. Their first 3 picks are all defense. Another Gruden guy, I think, DeAndre Baker. He was a leader on that Georgia Bulldog defense. He was very solid, great, all-around corner. He can do it all for you. He can press, get a play off the ball, play zone, tackle as well. And they need a guy next to Garyon Conley. I feel like this is a great guy for him. Baker's my second best corner in this draft, and they get it. Their defense is going to be loaded, man.
Yeah,
Because they're spending all their money on Le'Veon Bell this offseason and Anthony Barr. As I was saying, I think the Raiders they can go out and get Le'Veon Bell, break the bank for him, and break the bank for Anthony Barr. Go play ball with Devin Bush, Anthony Barr, DeAndre Baker, and Rashawn Gary.
Yeah, that would be a big turnaround. But you think they're going to go out and sign Le'Veon Bell? I don't think that's going to happen. So that still leaves a need at running back for the Raiders. John Gruden, he's consistently had a good go-to running back. So in his successful years.
He also needs a fullback.
Yeah. But I have them taking Josh Jacobs out of Bama. They didn't really have any running backs that impressed me last year. Marshawn Lynch didn't look too good in my opinion. DeAndre Washington, he's just a third down back, scat back type guy. But Josh Jacobs can step in. He can be your number 1 back who can step in and do everything, be an elite back for you. I'm really high on Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, I think he's the best running back in this class, but I think they can get him in the second round, the start of the second round, because if Josh Jacobs makes it past the Eagles, I don't think anybody else goes out and gets a running back. So that's why I had DeAndre Baker going here.
Yeah.
So let's move on to the Chargers at number 28. They could go linebacker or interior defensive line because those are really the only 2 things that they could really do anything with. So I have them going Dexter Lawrence here. He's the best interior defensive lineman left. Great run stopper, need run help next to Melvin Ingram and Joey Bosa. Helps take a load off them in the run game, and let's play ball.
Yeah, I've seen this one guy rising up a lot of boards for a lot of people. He had a great showing at the Combine, extremely athletic. I was a pretty big fan of his tape. He didn't really have high production, but he has some really good go-to moves on the inside, and that's Draymond Jones out of Ohio State. He's got the size, he's got the athleticism. I think he has everything that you want out of a defensive lineman in today's game. I think he can play all 3 downs, and he can be a big impact on the inside for the Chargers.
Yeah, he could be, but I think he's a second-round talent. He's a day 2 guy. I don't think he creeps into the first round at all.
I think he's late first.
Jerry Tillery's much better than him.
I don't think so.
Jerry Tillery is much better than him, as I was saying.
disagree with you very
Um,
strongly.
But aside from that, the Kansas City Chiefs are now on the clock. They need corner help. They need secondary help because they got absolutely torched last season in the secondary. But it didn't help with what's his face as the defensive coordinator.
I need to see who I picked. You keep talking.
Yeah, as I was saying, the Kansas City Chiefs, their defensive backfield is pretty porous, and they need help. Eric Berry could get cut. I talked about this in a different video, but someone kind of ruined it. Not Trent though. It was another tubby guy that we know. Aside from that, though, Rock Yassin, he is the guy I have going here. He is a lockdown corner. I feel like he can develop well into this secondary with Kendall Fuller and Daniel Sorensen in the secondary.
Yeah.
So I got Rock Yassin going right here.
All right. Well, I have DeAndre Baker. He's a little undersized. Didn't have the best combine, but that was kind of expected. He did what was needed, but I have a lot of faith in DeAndre Baker. He's got great technique. He's a good press man, corner. Chiefs need help. Slot him in. He can be the guy.
Now we're on to the dreaded number 30 pick for the worst team in the NFL, in my opinion. Yeah,
I don't want to say worst team.
Cardinals beat them, so they're the worst team in the NFL.
Fair
Green Bay Packers. Aaron Rodgers, his arrogance is going to get in the way with this pick, and for a good reason. The best tight end still on the board, in my opinion. T.J. Hawkinson. He goes right here. Him and Jimmy Graham, maybe.
I think Jimmy Graham might get cut.
I don't think Jimmy Graham gets cut. I think they keep a 2 tight end set, rotate those guys, have
That'll be interesting.
have TJ develop a little bit more because they use 2 tight end sets with Matt LaFleur, with Delaney Walker and Jonnu Smith.
Yeah.
Before I think Delaney Walker got hurt this season. So
Jimmy Graham could take the Jonnu Smith role.
yeah, TJ Hawkinson goes and turns into George Kittle.
Yeah, I
That-
could see that.
That's maybe not the production of George Kittle, but similar play styles
Yeah.
to George Kittle. So there you go, Packers. With your small Packers.
Yeah, I have the Packers taking Nasir Adderley. They need safety help pretty badly. He can be a not long, but a rangy safety, play center field for them, and just make plays in the second half of the defense, back half of the defense.
Yeah, it would be a good pick for them because they definitely need secondary help because Stephon Diggs definitely torched them in the second game of the season last year. Got over the top of that defense, and Kirk Cousins just launched a bomb.
Yeah, Paul Richardson did pretty good against them too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, the Rams are up next. They're gonna lose Roger Saffold this offseason, and Andrew Whitworth. He's not getting any younger. You still have Rob Havenstein. You just cut Mark Barron. You're probably gonna lose Ndamukong Suh too. I hope you kind of lose Ndamukong Suh because I just don't think it'll work next year. Won't be the same. He's not getting any younger anyways. You're letting go of Marcus Joyner as well. So you got to go and protect the franchise, and that's Jared Goff and maybe C.J. Anderson.
C.J. Anderson.
Yeah, because we talked about Todd Gurley in our other video, but
I don't think that video's going up.
it's not going up.
No.
All right. Well, in that video, I talked about a bold prediction of Todd Gurley getting traded.
Yeah.
Insider information right here.
You also said Russell Wilson was going to the Giants. They still took Dwayne Haskins.
Yeah. Well.
So it only affects the Rams.
It only
in the
affects
mock
the Rams.
draft.
Yeah, it's more realistic than Russell Wilson. Anyways, I have him going Dalton Risner right here. I think he's a guy with a lot of ferociousness and feistiness, with a lot of strength and experience. That'll be good for this Rams offensive line. Fills perfectly in with this offense. And you put him at guard, you put him at tackle. I don't care where you put him, just not center, please. Even though they just let go of John Sullivan, so they could go center there too. But I don't have Elgin Jenkins going in the first round. So anyways, Dalton Risner, Los Angeles Rams, book it.
All right, so yeah, Dalton Risner, he's a guy who could develop into a left tackle after Andrew Whitworth leaves. He's got that type of potential, but more of a guard in my opinion. But I'm gonna have a little bit of a on-the-fly change. I was gonna go with Mac Wilson at linebacker, but I made this draft before the news of John Sullivan. There's this guy that I'm really high on.
Bat Bradbury.
Yeah, he's still available, and they're gonna go and take Garrett Bradbury. You can go in and just be a great player for the Rams.
It just fills the void. You leave off where you left off, basically, but you're gonna gain more potential out of it.
Yeah, long-term potential.
And now we're on to the Super Bowl champs,
Mhm.
the best team in the NFL this past season, apparently by standings in the playoffs.
Yeah.
So they need tight end.
Mhm.
The tight end, I think, is their biggest need right now because they just let go of Dwayne Allen and Rob Gronkowski. This might be the end of it. So you go and get a guy that I feel like is better than O.J. Howard
Mhm.
coming out as a
You
prospect.
think he's better than O.J. Howard?
I think he's better than O.J. Howard.
I don't think he's better.
Maybe
than
not
O.J. Howard.
athletically, but as a football player,
No.
I see a lot of O.J. Howard.
No.
I see a lot of O.J. Howard in
No.
him, and it's Irv Smith Jr. He caught the ball very well. He's a great route runner. He can block amazing,
Mhm.
and Tom Brady gets another toy in the shed.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see him being better than O.J. Howard, and I think he has the same type of play style, but he's definitely not better than O.J. Howard.
Maybe not as a prospect coming out, but I think he develops into a better player.
There's always potential for that, but yeah, I have the same guy going for the same reasons. They're gonna need tight end help. Tom Brady loves to use his tight ends because he can't really get the deep ball to the outside anymore. He's got to go deep ball on the inside. So he loves using his tight ends
And
down
he
the
loves
seams.
his kids.
Okay, so
Irv Smith is a kid to him.
yeah, all right. So Irv Smith, I have him going there, and yeah, it's gonna do it for the mock draft. Go ahead and like, subscribe, share the video, and thanks for watching.
Tell us who had the better mock draft.